An arc can be a potent storytelling tool in anime. In just a few episodes, a series can deliver some of its hypest plots, complete with awe-inspiring action and heroic moments. If you look at it, an arc's just one small part of a big whole, but this small segment has the potential to make or break a show. A poorly executed arc can make the viewer lose interest and give up on the show entirely. The Shounen universe is full of arcs that do an exceptional job of telling a story effectively and compellingly. So today, to commemorate this channel reaching the very important milestone of 600,000 subscribers, yes, I wanted to do another very special and personal video for you. Yes, I'll be picking 10 of my favorite shonen arcs in anime. This is also in keeping with my policy of picking just one entry per series, okay? So on that note, let's get started. We kick off this list with Bleach's Soul Society arc. This one is a given and perhaps the reason why Bleach reached the epic heights it did before its inglorious fall from grace. Before it went off the rails, Bleach was the cool kid on the anime block with the potential to become one of the greatest shonen shows of all time, and the Soul Society arc is where it all started. It gave us unforgettable characters like Gin and Mayuri. It had incredible battle sequences. Think Ichigo versus Kenpachi or Renji versus Byakuya, and it left us with the smartest, most deceptively badass villain. The Soul Society arc did all the heavy lifting, setting the stage for Bleach to do something incredible. A pity it didn't turn out that way though, isn't it? But that moment at the end of the arc when Aizen snaps his geeky glasses in half and drops his good guy facade remains a brilliant legacy of this fallen giant. Remember the Heaven's Arena and Hunter exam arcs from Hunter x Hunter? Well, this entry on the list is from Togashi's other notable work, Yu Yu Hakusho, and I feel it far surpasses both of them. The Dark Tournament saga follows the protagonist Yusuke Urameshi as he and his friends enter an underworld contest where they're pitted against killers and demons. Spread across 40 episodes, it took almost a year to air. When an arc lasts that long, there's a very good chance of it losing its way. That too when it's mostly all matches and battles, but Dark Tournament doesn't falter at all. On the contrary, for me it's the show's best arc. The battles are intense, but the pace never gets too frenetic thanks to some quiet moments in between. The story shows Yusuke's growth and maturity as he's pushed to his limits, both physically as he faces freakishly strong opponents and emotionally as he watches his mentor fall in battle. His groundbreaking, muscle-popping final bust-up against Toguro has all the destructive power of a good old 90s anime. As an added bonus, Toguro makes quite the impression as a multi-layered villain who's so much more than his awesome crew cut and rippling muscles. Next is the final arc of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. From the world of martial arts, we move on to a universe ruled by alchemy. By now, I'm sure you know the story of Edward and Alphonse Elric, brothers and alchemists on a mission to take back what they lost in a disastrous failed experiment. Brotherhood explores some dark themes: loss, sacrifice, the limits of humanity. This is also true of its final arc, the chief attraction of which is the battles between the homunculi and the Elric brothers and their allies. The fight between Roy Mustang and Envy is particularly memorable because it goes beyond the Flame Alchemist's impressive takedown of the shape-shifting homunculus. This battle between hero and villain, good and evil, explores one of Brotherhood's dark themes to great effect. The theme being that nothing is completely black and white. At the end of their contest, we see Mustang so consumed by hatred that he's on the verge of turning into a beast himself. On the other hand, Envy's resentful longing for the undying human spirit makes the homunculus a little human at some level. All in all, the final arc has so many great moments. From the last transmutation scene to the epic final battle, if I ever make a top 10 FMA moments, I'm really gonna have a hard time ranking them. At 7, we have another tournament arc, a very nostalgic one at that. The Chunin exam comes in the first half of Naruto, and it's its first big arc. It serves as a test of skill, intelligence, leadership, battle prowess, and all the other qualities required in the next crop of ninjas that inhabit this world. The series is known for its eloquently choreographed fight sequences, and the Chunin exam gives it its first bragging rights. The matches are of the highest level and highly entertaining as the young contestants show off their wildly different skills. From Shikamaru's shadow imitation transformation technique to Rock Lee's taijutsu. It serves up some of the best underdog fights in anime too, such as class clown Naruto surprising the Hyuga prodigy Neji with a punch to his face and changing his outlook on life and destiny, or Rock Lee almost getting the better of a seemingly invincible and creepy as hell Gaara and making us all realize that we dig a hard-working guy in a green jumpsuit. Moreover, this arc serves as a great introduction for all the characters who go on to become central to Naruto's storyline: Team 7, the Rookie 9, Team Guy, Gaara, and Orochimaru. Let's not forget him. As an arc, the Chunin exam is not just a single event, but rather a launchpad for some of the most important and enduring friendships, rivalries, and relationships that make this anime special. Talking about special, there's no anime quite as special as Gintama. Its first 50-odd episodes are pretty much practical jokes, parodies, and madcap moments strung together with a good bit of satire thrown in too. But when it's time to get serious, this show gets right down to it, with even Lazy Odd Job's boss Gintoki turning into the deadly Shiroyasha. The Farewell Shinsengumi arc is perhaps the best example of Gintama's smooth transition from goofy to grim. I know a lot of Gintama fans prefer Shogun Assassination arc over this one, and that's pretty fair actually, because I feel it's also one of the best shonen arcs around. However, my personal favorite arc in Gintama is the Farewell Shinsengumi arc. Battles are the highlight of any serious Gintama arc, but Farewell Shinsengumi deals with weightier subjects like personal demons, uncomfortable truths, and friendships between enemies. The villains are all highly memorable: the sadistic new Shogun Nobunobu, the Mimawari Gumi, which replaces the Shinsengumi as the Shogunate's special police force, and the Tensho in Naraku, a shadowy assassination group that also works for the government. And it introduces us to Utsuro, the series' toughest antagonist. Towards the end, the emotions really hit home with the bickering Gintoki and Hijikata sharing a last meal, Kagura and Okita fighting one last duel, and of course the Shinsengumi saying goodbye to Edo with a promise to come back someday. Rurouni Kenshin, known to some Western audiences as Samurai X, is a classic shonen show with heavy undertones of Japanese history. This entry is not an arc from the series, but an original video animation or OVA that serves as a prologue to it. Titled Trust and Betrayal, it's the story of how the protagonist, Himura Kenshin, becomes the infamous manslayer. It also reveals how he got his famous scar. Both in its imagery and its story and treatment, the OVA has a darker, more brooding tone than the anime series. Trust and Betrayal doesn't hold back with its display of violence, bloodshed, and gore. At the same time, there's a serenity and quiet beauty about it that's at complete odds with its violent themes, and yet these two halves make a whole that never feels jarring. The battle scenes make as much sense as the more mundane moments in Kenshin's life at home. The beautiful background animation and use of color make these moments shine even more. Trust and Betrayal is as much of a journey of a man's descent into hellish violence as it is a love story between a man and a woman who were perhaps never fated to be together. If you haven't watched the OVA, I highly recommend you do, even if you haven't seen the original series yet. Next, we take a look at Return to Shiganshina from Attack on Titan. No shonen listing can be complete without an entry from Attack on Titan, a show that's made a habit of upping the anticipation with each new season. Its latest arc, Return to Shiganshina, follows Eren, Mikasa, and Armin as they return to their hometown 4 years after it fell to Titans. They're part of an ambitious expedition to learn the truth behind the Titans and reclaim War Maria, but it's more accurately a suicide mission, given that waiting for them is a fierce battle against the Beast Titan and certain death. The action is fantastic as usual. Levi mowing down an army of Titans and almost killing the Beast Titans, probably the most badass one-man show in anime. But the fights this time are as emotionally charged as they are bruising. This is especially true of the clashes between the Survey Corps members and the armored and colossal Titans. The writing effectively captures the inner struggles on both sides. It does the same when Levi is given the unenviable task of choosing one life over another. Within the space of just 10 episodes, major characters die, a new Titan is born, and an old enemy reveals his hidden connection to Eren. At the end of all this tragedy and bloodshed, the mission to learn the truth hidden in Eren's old basement ends in success, but also in mixed feelings. Return to Shiganshina for me is Attack on Titan's best arc yet, and it raises the bar high for how the rest of the story will unfold. P.S. We dig the new Thunder Spears.
やられたな。だがエルという私は実在する。さあ、私を殺してみろ。こいつ。
A classic game of cat and mouse between a serial killer and an eccentric detective brings up the rear of our top 3 shonen arcs. The battle of wits between Light Yagami as the serial killer Kira and L is legendary and needs no introduction. Given L's popularity among fans, the anime's first 26 episodes is called the L arc, though you could argue in reality it comprises 3 arcs. The Super arc tells the story of Light's descent into darkness on finding the Death Note and meeting the Shinigami Ryuk, L's pursuit of Kira, and the battle of one-upmanship that ensues between the two. What makes this battle a hoot to watch is the characters of its players. Light is a model student on the surface, popular and talented, but deep within, he is an evil incarnate, a manipulative killer with a god complex and no remorse. L, on the other hand, has a slouchy appearance that makes others doubt his abilities, but he's highly intelligent, meticulous and analytic. He's also deeply suspicious, deceptive, prone to lying, and not above using cruel and criminal means to get what he wants. The arc comes alive with their scheming and planning. As it is in every battle, there's a winner and a loser. This applies to the contest between Light and L as well. By now, most of us know how it ends. The L arc is not the end of Death Note, but it might as well be. After all, I'd say this is when the series started to go downhill for me personally, but the L arc on its own is a masterpiece, and no one can convince me otherwise. At number 2 is Marineford from One Piece. Action, adventure, shiploads of cool characters and heartbreak come together in this arc that One Piece fans will probably never get over. As the admirals and their allies go up against the might of the Whitebeard pirates and Luffy's motley crew, the action never stops for a moment. But these frenetically paced 33 episodes are more than just the fighting. The Marineford arc has some splendidly written moments, such as Whitebeard's fierce last stand and Garp's quiet grief. Then there's Shanks, who makes one of the biggest impacts on this arc despite being absent for the most part of it. In his short cameo, we get a glimpse of the quiet power of this man that we've seen much too little of so far. The Marineford arc takes the viewers through a gamut of emotions as courage and loyalty clash with treachery and deceit. It will probably have you hating Blackbeard and Akainu with a vengeance, not that we blame you for it though, of course, but nothing hurts quite as much as the tragedy that awaits us at the end. In this roller coaster called One Piece, the story of Marineford will break your heart like no tragedy drama ever can. In the top spot then, we have the Chimera Ant arc from the 2011 anime reboot of Hunter x Hunter. This show's pretty much the manual on great story arcs. If you've watched the Phantom Troop and Zoldyck family segments, you'll know what I'm talking about. But for me, this arc is undoubtedly the most superior of them all. Given the show's track record, it comes as no surprise that the action is of the highest level in this one. Netero's death match with Meruem and Gon's rage moment against Pito don't have an equivalent. But even in the clashes between secondary characters, the action's more than skin deep and crackles with innovation and personality. The Hunter's invasion of Meruem's castle is more goosebump-inducing than title fights in some anime. In between the fighting, there are moments where the story changes pace and just breathes a little. Yet these moments are just as vital to the narrative as the boom and bombast of the fight sequences. Meruem's shogi game with Komugi is one such contemplative sequence. While seemingly not part of the main story, it's nevertheless critical to the change in the Ant King's personality before he engages the Hunter in battle. It gives the ruthless Meruem a compassionate, even human side that we've never actually seen before. It's a turning point in his evolution as one of the greatest anime antagonists of all time. The arc comes to a thought-provoking end, raising questions about the concepts of hero and villain, good and evil. You gotta watch it to believe it. This arc is the main reason why Hunter x Hunter 2011 is still my favorite anime of all time. And that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you did, give it a like. Tell me in the comments below what's your top 10 shonen arcs in anime. I'd love to hear from you on this one. And do subscribe for more cool anime content. I would like to thank you once again for helping this channel reach 600,000 subscribers. I'm truly grateful. I couldn't have done it without you. And for those of you who haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing it if you enjoy this type of content and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my uploads. Stay tuned and I'll see you next time on ViniiTube.